Somebody asked why I don't wear these earrings when I'm answering questions, and I have no good reason. Greetings and salutations. Hair covered, face wash, body covered. Greetings and salutations. This is your girl, Outspoken WC Goofiness. Me preparing myself. So you know what I'm doing, right? I am answering your questions, and also let's have a talk about it, shall we? Why are we collaborating these? Because I have there are topics y'all want me to talk about, and but y'all asked me in question form some of them, and then I do have a couple of questions that I want to answer. So so we're just gonna collaborate those. I know it's been a minute. Y'all know I've spoken to people been outside. And I gotta go back outside. The last time it was like my birthday time, so and since then, I've had two cousins to celebrate 50 years of marriage with their spouses on back to back weekends. I asked my mom, I was like, they got married? And she was like, yeah. And like one of the weddings, she and my sister were in. My mom was a bridesmaid. My sister was the flower girl. And then the other wedding, I found out my cousin Chef was the ring bearer, so had to go to those. Those were back to back weekends. One was a Friday night. The next week was a Saturday. And then by the time the day I probably will post this, I will be at either at our Foundation Church or coming from Foundation Church. And because they're honoring my aunt, my oldest aunt, she will be Senior Citizen of the Year. And we're all going. Mediva's going, so that means we're gonna go. My sister and I, and my nephew and his daughter, my great niece, are going. And pretty much, I think the majority of my immediate family will be there. So to support her. She doesn't know it's quiet, so that's why I'm not gonna bring this. This won't. I mean, I might post it to YouTube like maybe the day before, but she's not checking that. It's not gonna be until I put it on Facebook that she might see it. So I'm good. And then we're gonna the next weekend we're gonna take her out to lunch at Chef's restaurant. Chef has his own Mexican restaurant. So that's what I've been up to. That's why y'all have not seen me in a minute. Uh, y'all have asked me these questions. Y'all wondered was I gonna talk about some things. So we have what, two bullet points, and then two questions. So bullet point one. Marvin Winans saying that any Christians that are members of the Divine Nine are going to hell, and Fred Hammond's response. I'm gonna leave down below Fred Hammond's response. Seemly okay. William Murphy, I think he's a bishop. I think he's a bishop. Only thing I really know about William Murphy is he sung "Praise Is What I Do," and it was another good song. I know him as a gospel artist. And then since then, I found out he's the pastor of a church. I think he's a bishop. And seemingly he became a honorary Sigma of the no, that's the fraternity Phi Beta Sigma. Uh, and Marvin Winans found out, and he decided to make a statement. You know, Marvin Winans, I'm going to say this, is non-Greek. He is not part of a Greek organization. Not a fraternity or any of those type of things. Um, Not knowing at the time if he had waited just maybe like another hour, some hours, or a day or so Fred Hammond was also becoming an honorary Sigma also. So, he is not no now in Marvin Winans' defense, he is not backtracked on anything he said. But with that, those of us who are not part of fraternities and sororities, I am very wary of us speaking on what's not Christian. Everybody that I know that are members of fraternities and sororities, black, white, uh, Mexican, all of those. Is a Christian of some faith, of some denomination or anything. So, I don't know, and I know that they are supposed to have Christian backings and Christian foundations. I've never heard of any of them taking a pledge and an oath to Greek deities and those type of things. So I don't know. I like I said, I never pledged, so I mean, I had an interest in one, but yeah, when it came to sisterhood, I couldn't. Both schools, I could not see myself being those women's sisters. So yeah, no. So yeah, that's why I didn't. I just really didn't really have a real interest in it. But yeah, those of us who are not of Greek society, yeah, I think we need to be careful on what we say is Christian. Definitely, first of all, man has no heaven or hell to put you in, so that you gonna go to hell and all that. Need to walk a line on that. But then as for people like you have those that have been members of those organizations and they denounce that. I can't tell you now. Most people know I do not question anyone's salvation or Christianity. For the most part, we'll find my next topic. You'll find out. I've had to. There is now one somebody I might have to do that to. But my thing is, I can understand if you denounce that, if you put that organization in front of your walk with God. But again, but then some of them feel like no, the things that we did. I don't know. I'm not. I've never been in those sorority rooms, so I can't tell you anything about that. So if they denounce it, they denounce it and stuff like that. Fred Hammond has a good take on it. I finally sat down and watched it because y'all sent that to me. He has an interesting take. He did his research. He prayed and he did all the things. Okay, so yeah, but yeah, I just don't. I don't feel as though Bishop Marvin Winans should have had anything to say. I think he should have left that alone because again, he knows nothing. He's just like me, just like I. We're not part of that world, so we don't know. Okay, and like I said, I have never heard anyone say that they pray to take an oath to any Greek deity. So so yeah. All right. How do you feel about Norman Giamfi, the Maverick City executive, interview on Isaac Curry's podcast? Okay, those of you who may not know, Norman Giamfi is a man who is Ghanaian American. His parent he comes from Ghana. His parents are from Ghana. Comes from they are doctors, so he doesn't know the struggle as he claims. He went on. He is an executive of. He's like the businessman of the group, the Christian contemporary music group, Maverick City. Okay, the song Bless Me," and some other songs. Gyra, they sing that. Okay. He came on Isaac Curry. He used to sing with Minister Standard, and now he's branched out on his on. He has a song in the middle. No, he's a gospel singer. Okay. Well, Norman came on. The title of I'll leave it down below for those of you who want to watch. If you have not already watched, he talked about the business, the shocking business practices of gospel music, right? Okay, and they talk about that, and then Norman Giamfi starts saying some very harsh and wild words against gospel music, because there's a difference between Christian, um, contemporary CCM and gospel music, of course. Okay, and he was talking about how if y'all really wanted gospel music, how come CCM could blow them out the water? How come Mav City is making more streams? The business part of some of the business ways of what he was saying, truth, I get it. That was good for him to say. The things that he was saying, the tone that he said. Didn't I just say I don't question people's Christianity? This is a man whose Christianity I had to woo, because you can't tell me there was no God, no love in but nothing that he said. Is the way he said the things that he said. Yes, he reveals that he's MAGA and all that kind of stuff, and he thanks Donald Trump for the PPP loans. He doesn't relate to gospel music anyway. It's y'all sing too hard, you sing too long, you got too many runs, and all this kind of stuff. He never could have made it. He can't relate. This is how I know that I can't say there's no God in this man, because never could have made it. Never could have made it. God gave Donald Trump the pen to sign off those PPP loans, right? I mean, like, you don't have it. Everything is not about the struggle, as we say. There are things that go on in your life. I'm going to, because he's the money man, I'm going to assume that he went to college, or there is something, there was some kind of schooling in his life. There was a test that he might have been worried about. Never could have made it. If he made an A or passed the test period, never could have made it, right? So, yeah, it's a very harsh watch. I couldn't get through all of it, because he is very. Yeah, and then it's blown up. Isaac Correa has come out and had to apologize, because you're a gospel person and you just all this kind of stuff. He said, I maybe should have asked some more pushback questions. Members of, like, Naomi Rain, and she's a member of Maverick City. She's had to speak out. Dante Bowie, I think that's his name, Dante Bowie, Bow, whatever. He's left Maverick City, I think temporarily or high or whatever, and he's made a statement and those kind of things. So, yeah. And of course, those of us who are fans of gospel music, we were like, he was like, y'all want choir music back. Well, why was the choir replaced in the first place? No one wants to hear y'all. Not those of us who are, when you don't have the heart, you don't understand, because it's more than just black gospel music. I also grew up on the Gaithers music and the Oak Ridge Boys and the Happy Goodmans. That's Southern gospel, right? They sing just as hard, okay? I mean, don't get me wrong, I like some CCM too. I mean, back in the 90s, Amy Grant was my girl. Michael W. Smith was my boy. Y'all, those were my people. DC Talk, I like DC Talk. And now, unfortunately, a lot of these CCM groups, like Hillsong and stuff, they coming out with documentaries that are not too positive about them. So, but all in all, the way I see with the whole interview, this is why y'all need to be careful on who talks for y'all, who represents for y'all. Y'all need to be careful about that. Also, now you see he said something about that's why pop music is makes more money than R&B, and that's why you don't see folks like Clive Davis talking. You don't see whoever is the black faces in those worlds, that you don't see them talking. Everybody know to be quiet, except you. Even the CCM people, other CCM people, you don't hear nobody disparaging other genres of music. So, yeah, you gotta be careful. Okay. Y'all, I'm doing this without glasses. My gosh. Because I don't feel like putting them on. I've been in glasses all day. So, yeah. Alright, here we go. Oh, here we go. Now we're down to the real questions, okay? Not real questions, but not just topics. Why don't you believe in soul ties and looking for Boaz? I've heard you mention it, but unless it's on other videos, I you don't explain. They are on other videos. Well, not looking for Boaz. I don't think I have a video about Boaz. I don't think. I know soul ties. It goes. We talking about the first videos back when I just did a question and then put it on the blog. So I understand. We talking about years ago. Okay, gotcha. Soul ties. The reason why I don't believe in soul ties is because you cannot find a biblical reason for soul ties. The only soul ties that you see is Jonathan and David, and they were friends. The scripture y'all like to, people like to use, is really about sleeping with people who get paid for birds and bees activities. Okay. Okay. Then, okay, that's one. That's one. There is no biblical thing. Okay. I do understand passing of energies, but you can do that without having birds and bees activities with someone. I mean, I also believe in demons. That can be moved around. That's why people like to say you got to be prayed up. You stay pleading the blood. That kind of stuff. So so yeah, that has nothing to do with just birds and the bees. I'm not saying that you go out here and have premarital birds and bees. I'm just saying I don't believe it. I feel like soul ties was taught to us as it wasn't taught to Foundation Church did not teach us soul ties. The only thing they taught us was maybe the mirror thing. You don't want your mirror smudged. That was about it. We didn't get soul tie lessons. And then the next reason is because the way soul ties is taught. What about the redemption of the blood of Jesus Christ? If he can make things whiter than snow, how come he can't untie that tie? He can't unloosen that. He can't untie it. Y'all know. And then the other practical way that I think a reason why I don't believe in forceful non-consensual birds and bees. That's a soul tie. You getting a soul tie from that person? Yeah. So that's yeah. Again, I believe in transfers of energy and those kind of things. That's why you need to be careful about who you interact with. Period. Without that's just period. Standing by people and stuff like that. You got to be careful. You got to be prayed up. But as for soul ties, no. I said, yeah, no. That's why I don't believe in them. Because like I said, you can't even find me a biblical way to even see that anyway. So yeah. Looking for Boaz. One, I'm a single person. I don't understand why Boaz. I mean, I understand why Boaz. I'll get to that in a minute. But I'm a single person. I do not understand. I'm looking for my Boaz, and you're a single woman, and you done skipped all over Adam. I get why you skipped over Adam, because Adam did put chunk Eve up under the bus. But y'all ain't ready for that conversation. But yeah, how can because Boaz was actually Ruth's second husband, not her first husband. So okay, but I get why y'all people be talking about you want the qualities that Boaz stand for, but to me, Ruth and the Boaz story is nothing but a biblical relationship goal. I don't believe in relationship goals, so Ruth and Boaz, yeah, they go up under there, and y'all think that this because that's their story is really kind of messed up. I mean, like, first of all, I'm not looking for Boaz because Ruth wasn't even looking for Boaz. Ruth was out there working. Now, she, Naomi kind of picked up on some things. So the next thing is you trying to be in the eyesight of Boaz, okay, but can you be Ruth? Because what Ruth lying at his feet was not just laying at the foot of his bed. Okay, that's number one. So in actuality, she was kind of PIMP out. Okay, okay. Also, Boaz marries Ruth because to make it right. He we don't know if this is a loving story. He just, oh, okay, I laid at her feet. She laid at my feet. Okay, now I gotta marry her. This ain't what I want for my life. I want the relationship. My relationship goal is what God was supposed to want for me. Yes, I want a man who has the qualities of Boaz, but I rather just want those qualities as opposed to looking for him. Okay, so yeah, that's why you don't ever hear me say I'm looking for my Boaz, and that young lady who that song, Boaz, okay. All right, so yeah, that's why I don't believe in those things. All right, here's a fun one. We're gonna end on a fun one. I saw this on TikTok and I was like, you know what? Because everything else I was talking about is so heavy, we might as well have this fun one. Y'all remind me not to do 4 questions again because we already over 20 minutes in. My goodness. Okay. A good person in the Bible that you think just had a good PR team, and a bad person who's just a little misunderstood. So the two names come to mind is David and Martha. David just had a good PR team. Okay. First of all, the whole Bathsheba situation. You sleep with this woman. You're king. You have this woman brought to your room. You sleep with this woman. Okay. She ends up with child. But her husband's out the war. You bring her husband home. They still don't birds and bees. So then you put him on the front line and you have him unalived. And you bring her in the house. And then your kid, the child leaves this world, right? Messed up. All because of what you did. This is why David dancing at his clothes. Yeah, he free from Saul and all that kind of stuff. But some of them Psalms, if you pay attention, he's asking for forgiveness. Cause David that was very foul. But he's the man after God's own heart, not this kind of stuff. But he had a good PR team. Let's tell the truth. Okay, he wrote all the Psalms. He wrote most of the Psalms, all those kind of things. He was chased by Saul. All that kind of stuff. He killed Goliath. He killed animals. All that kind of stuff. Okay, but David was just as human as all the rest of us, and he was foul. Okay, all right. Speaking of humans, the bad person in the Bible, I cannot stand the way Martha is taught in church. Martha is just as human as the rest of us. When we first meet Martha, it's Martha and Mary. Mary's all in front with the people learning of Jesus, with the disciples and the other visitors in the house. And Martha taps him, "Hey, Master, tell my sister to come back here and help me in the kitchen and stuff like that." And Jesus was like, "No, she don't have to leave. Matter of fact, you need to stop and you need to come sit down and learn something yourself." Now, okay, let's do some common sense stuff. Now, how the crowds are with Jesus. We got the biggest fish fry ever. 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread. That was broke apart for the multitude. That was multiplied. Say there was no refreshments or snacks or lunch ready at Martha's house. Had she not been, working in the kitchen, it would have been some grumbling. Okay. All right. Let's fast forward to when Lazarus died. Lazarus was Martha and Mary's brother, and he passed away. They had sent word for Jesus. Jesus took his little time. He took some days. He had healed some other folks. By the time he got to the tomb, Martha was right there. Now, let's talk about it. Let's talk about grief. We all want to talk about grief. Oh, they were just grieving. How come Martha wasn't just grieving? Her brother is dead in that tomb. So, yeah. How come Martha don't get the grief rollout? No, she was bad for talking to You know, she had something to say to Jesus. She ain't get. We don't get a little grief. We don't get a little sympathy for Martha. Hey, Jesus wept, and he brought rose Lazarus up from the dead. But yeah, I think there should be some grace for Martha. She's just as human as the rest of us. But hey, she's just a little misunderstood. And I can't stand the way she's preached about it. Okay? Okay, so that is the end of the questions. Any other topics that I talked about? Let me see. Marvin Winans' statement about the Divine Nine Greek fraternities and sorority, and Fred Hammond's response. Norman Giamfi on the Azakari podcast, speaking about CCM versus gospel. Why do you believe in soul ties and looking for Boaz, or don't believe? How do you believe in that? Those two items. Then who is a good person in the Bible that you think just had a good PR team, and a bad person in the Bible who was just misunderstood. Leave those answers, comments, questions, and concerns down below in the comment section down below, or on the social media site that you see this on, or you can always hit me up in the to the email address that's in the description box. Okay, I almost had it. Just a little rusty. But yeah, other than that, God loves you. So do I, and there's nothing you can do about it. And other than that, talking to you in adult terms.